I'm afraid to do that. Check, check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Okay.
Get your ass out of here.
Scott Sargent, WFNY. Coach, now that you have 4 games to process this whole thing, how much of this was improvement on you guys and how much was matchup related?
And how much was it what?
Matchup related?
Oh, we talked about it through the whole course of this long season, just, getting better, hitting our stride when the playoffs start. The guys, we're getting a lot of contribution from a lot of different guys, so we got a lot of guys playing well, good team effort. Like I always, we've been going back talking about the Indiana series. I think it prepared us for this series. I think the physicality, the ball pressure really helped us going forward into this series. So, we got to continue to keep getting better. We talked about that just throughout the course of the playoffs, getting better and finally hitting a good rhythm.
ESPN. Ty, you guys took your lumps over the course of 82 games. There was criticism on you and your roster. Meanwhile, the Raptors were praised for 82 games, and then it comes down to these 4 games, and people are going to look at Coach Casey and the job he did. What do you have to say about just the nature of this job and what you saw from the Raptors this series?
As far as Casey goes, I think he did a tremendous job. I think to, take a team, change the culture, change the environment, change the way they played, develop some young guys, made them a lot better, and then win 59 games this year, second best record in the NBA, and top 3 in offense and defense. That's unheard of. It just, I think the hardest part is, and you've seen it for years with Michael Jordan, they happen to run into LeBron James. And they haven't lost to any other team in the last 3 years but us. And I think, we have a good team. And I think, having LeBron, to get through, it's tough, but Casey did a hell of a job. Can't sit here and say he didn't, and I love Dwayne, talked to him a lot, but he could have did a better job with that team, and so that's about it.
Kenny Road at WHBC. The defense in the regular season tie was good enough. In the Indiana series, pretty good. In this series, outstanding. How did that evolve, and is this what you need to do defensively to get back to the finals again?
I think, in the regular season it's tough. I think you're playing different teams, different styles of basketball. I think in the playoffs, we've always been better defensively because we get a chance to lock into one team and know what we want to take away. And I think last series we did a pretty decent job on Victor Oladipo. I think this series we really did a good job on DeRozan, keeping him off balance. And you're going to give up some threes, you're going to give up some paint points, but overall, to take away what you want to take away, we wanted to take away DeRozan, and we wanted to take away their bench. And I thought we did that in this series. DeLon Wright, he's a big factor in their bench. Van Fleet, Pirtle, Siakam. We did a really good job of just taking those guys out of the series and, doing a good job of taking DeRozan out of the series. And like I said, you're going to give some threes. You're going to give some some paint points to Big Valanciunas, who played well tonight. But you got to give up something. So we just, we know DeRozan can beat us, and we wanted to take him out of the series.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. Ty, in your starting lineup, who is the 2 guard?
I don't know.
Can we say it's JR?
Say it's Kyle.
Okay. My point or my question was, all year you guys most nights had trouble with the guard matchups, and then in this series, I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but it was really good. How did that turn? How did you take what had been a weakness for you all year and basically, make it a push in this series?
I think, like I said earlier, just, playing a 7-game series, locking in defensively on one team, and being able to strategize and understand what you want to take away. And I think our coaching staff, Longobardi, LD, Jimbo, D. Jones, Phil, Posey, Vitale, Big Dan on down. We sit in and we discuss how we want to take, certain situations away from teams and make them play to something else, something they're not comfortable doing. And the coaching staff did a great job, just coming up with a game plan to take DeRozan out, out of the series and take their bench out of the series. I think we did that by, playing LeBron with the second unit, to take their bench out of the series. So we did a good job with that.
But production-wise, you just got stuff from your guards that you hadn't.
Oh, you mean scoring-wise?
I mean everything, but let's talk about scoring now. Was it because you were playing JR and Kyle together? How much did George Hill have to do with this? Just the three of them and how well they played.
I think, G Hill's a big part of what we're doing and what we do. And when he got hurt in the Indiana series, missing 3.5 games, it really hurt us. And with him being back and playing with pace, attacking and pick and rolls, getting downhill, getting to the basket, causing the veer backs with Kevin, so they got to switch now. Now we can post Kevin on smaller guys. That's a big part of what we want to do. And when he's on the floor, then, LeBron, he doesn't have to overhandle. I think when he went out, you don't want Kyle and JR bringing it up, so, Bron had to bring it up and do a lot more. So with G Hill out there and he's, feeling 100%, it really helps us out offensively. So that allows JR and Kyle to get to their spots and be able to knock down open shots.
Jeff Shadell, News Herald. Ty, if it looks like you're playing your very best basketball right now, and if so, what was the key? What is the key for that to be so?
I think defensively we're playing pretty good, and when we're getting stops, when we get out in transition, able to play with pace, I think we're really good. I think this series we made shots. Guys made threes. A lot of different guys stepped up. Having 4 or 5 guys in double figures every single night is big for us. So, we still got to continue to keep getting better, but I like where we're at right now.
And just one more. When they took that brief lead at 38-36, you called that timeout. What did you say in that timeout? Because things really got going after that.
Just take care of the basketball. I thought we had a great series of just not turning the basketball over, and then getting back, get our defense set. I think we blew a couple coverages where they scored on. So just getting our defensive balance, understand what we're doing schematically, defensively, and then we got that back. So I think our defense really turned up, and then end up scoring, going on a 10-0 run, I think, the end of half. So that was huge for us in like a minute and 50 seconds.
Jason Lloyd, The Athletic. You may have answered this in piecemeal and a bunch of other answers, but so many guys struggled during the Indiana series, and you relied on LeBron to do almost everything, and so many guys contributed in this, from Kevin to JR to Kyle. So many guys got hot. I guess were you surprised or concerned at all with how much guys struggled against Indiana, and just collectively what allowed everyone to turn it around in this series?
I would have had to say George Hill. He was out. Our starting point guard, he was out, and they really turned the pressure up on us defensively. So, like I said, you don't want Kyle and JR bringing it up under duress. They kind of had Jose, flustered a little bit with the pressure. And then you don't want Kevin bringing it up with that. He's young guard him. So we was in a dilemma, I think, offensively. So they put a lot of pressure on our guards. But with G Hill missing 3.5, games, it was tough on us. I think we couldn't really get into an offensive flow because, we didn't really have a point guard who could release some of the pressure.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Ty, going back to DeRozan, this is now 3 years in a row that you've been able to, as you said, take him out of the series in a way. It's DeRozan. He's one of the better scorers in the NBA. So how have you been able to do that? Why have you guys been able to do that in a way that other teams can't?
We scheme for it. And then it's different because a lot of teams don't prepare and practice on different things throughout the course of the season, to get ready for the playoffs. We do that all the time, and a lot of guys get frustrated that, we do certain things in practice working on it. We don't use it during the regular season, so they get frustrated, like, why are we doing it? But, they've caught on the last couple of years, but it's very important. I just think when you go to the playoffs, you can't do the same things you've done all year because teams prepare for that. So, you try to catch guys off guard. DeRozan can score in bunches. He's, just score the basketball. He's an all-star. So we wanted to just find ways to take the ball out of his hands and just make him uncomfortable. So, and we did a really good job of keeping him off the free throw line for the series as well.
Usually things on defense, it's so much about developing habits throughout the course of the regular season. So what gives you the confidence that even though it's not everything that you're doing in the regular season and you're working on it behind the scenes, that when it's the postseason and you need it, you can go to it?
Because we drill it. We drill it and we work on it from day one. We've been working on different kind of blitzes and things to do defensively that we can do in the playoffs. And the guys, they lock into it because they understand this is for the playoffs. And we've done some of the stuff during the regular season, but I think if you just continue to work on it throughout the course of the season, when it's time to use it, I think guys are more comfortable. So it's not like something we just throw out, the night of the series or something like that. So it's things we work on, but the guys do a good job of following the game plan, and as you can see, defensively in this series was really good.
Ty, PJ Ziegler, Fox 8, you give some credit to the Indiana Pacers in getting you prepared for this series with the Toronto Raptors. What do you feel the Toronto Raptors series now has done in terms of getting you ready for the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think the same thing, just their physicality. I think, Valanciunas, he's a load, on the block, on the post-ups. They have great guard play in DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, and they have shooting. With CJ and Van Fleet comes in the game, he can shoot the basketball, run pick and roll. So get us ready for good guard play, good bigs. So it's pretty much the same thing preparing us for the next series.
Ken Miller, Calling Post. Coach, 2 questions. First, can you speak about not only just the defensive, the intensity of the defense inside, and how Kevin has been playing, particularly since he came back off injury?
I don't understand.
Your defense in the paint was crucial in this series, and can you speak of Kevin's impact since he's returned from injury?
Well, I mean, when you get a guy like Kevin who can play the 4 and the 5, but us playing him at the 5, it's hard for big guys to keep up with him. So he really does a good job of spreading the floor, and we kind of run a reverse offense. We set picks with our smalls and space our bigs, and Kevin takes advantage of that. I thought in this series, against Valanciunas, he really used his speed and quickness, catch and go, attacking quick, coming off pin downs, curling and going. So I thought he played at a faster pace, and when he's playing like that, we're tough to beat, So rebounding the basketball, be able to make shots, be able to post mismatches, that's where we missed him the most.
Can you speak real quickly to your depth? You appear to be playing a lot of different players. Are you looking to play more players? Usually you shorten it at this time of the year. It's 7 or 8 guys that you go with. This year appears you're expanding that lineup. Are you comfortable with your depth?
Yeah, very comfortable. We got like 12 guys that should probably be playing. Big Z's done a fantastic job this year. Jetty's done a great job. Rodney Hood, so Larry Nance. So we have a lot of guys that deserve to play. And I just think, going into a series, you have who you want to play. And then as the series goes along, you just kind of, see who's playing best, or if someone can give you something different, and you just kind of adjust from there.
Ty, Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. It looks like you guys are going to have at least 5 or 6 days of rest. Are you, with the way you're playing right now, it seems like you're on a roll. Are you more excited about the rest, or is it, something that you want to keep playing because you're playing well?
I'm excited about the rest. I think LeBron needs it. I think, we'll be prepared. We'll make sure we got a couple of days off to start, and then we'll go to the drawing board and see who we're playing. But, the guys know we got 2 days off. Come back Thursday, get locked in, and kind of go from there.
before you get started, I'd like to congratulate the Cleveland Cavaliers on a heck of a series by them. I thought they showed their championship pedigree. A great example for us, the difference between a regular season and a playoff run. And they're playing at a high level right now. So my hat's off to them. I thought Tyler did a great job of preparing his team, having them ready, you know, and just really clicking on a lot of different levels, and just, you know, took us out of what we wanted to do in a lot of different areas, and did a great job.
Coach Ken Miller with the Call and Post. As bleak as this moment is right now, is there any bright spot that you can take out of this?
No, well, the two games that we had the opportunity to win, those were ones we shot ourselves in the foot. You know, even though they were playing great basketball, Cleveland was, we had an opportunity to put ourselves in position to win. And then after each one of them, we were emotionally drunk, I thought, and just took the wind out of our sail. That was probably the positive, the fact that we put ourselves in position to win. But there's no more victories in the NBA. You know, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And, you know, we got close, but it doesn't count for anything. And they came back tonight and played the way a championship team needed to play. And we didn't after the first quarter.
Did you feel that that you had any inkling of any hope of winning this game tonight?
Well, I thought our guys, you know, would come in and compete harder. And, you know, and I told them, you know, they're going to come out and try to throw a haymaker, and how we respond was going to be important. And, you know, well, for whatever reason, we didn't. And that was disappointing. But like I told our team, that we can't let this series you know, we did some good things this year. We had a heck of a season as far as the regular season is concerned, but there's another level we have to learn to get to and make that commitment to get to as an organization and as a team, you know. And there's a different level, and you just saw it tonight.
Kenny Rhoda, WHBC in the back here. Coach, 3 years in a row, this is the team that's knocked you out. Is it as simple as they have LeBron James?
That's a big part of it. I mean, you know, that's a big part of it. You know, you're looking at probably one of the guys that's going to go down as one of the greatest ever. And, you know, it's a matchup nightmare for anybody. And I think anybody who's played against him will see that. But at some point, that's going to come down. That's going to change. You know, we've seen it all. We've seen it with Michael. We've seen it with Kobe. We've seen it a lot of great players. And we want to be the one, the Toronto organization wants to be the one who knocks that gate down. For whatever reason, we got the unlucky draw every year of going against them. But, you know, it's going to come a time when that gauntlet is going to come down. And why not us?
You coached against him and beat him when you were an assistant. Now you're here. What
different person? There's no, at that time, he has a lot that he probably hadn't experienced. He was trying to figure out the situation in Miami. That was when the zone was cute, you know, just to give a hesitation. And there's some things at that time we tried to do to take some things away from him. And he was still young. That was how many years ago? So that's hard to even compare him now. Now he's seen everything. He's a computer out there. And, you know, again, it's just a totally different situation, different person, different part of his career.
Dwayne, Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun. If you go back about 10 days before the series started, would there have been any inclination in your mind that you could have ever been swept?
No, I didn't. In my heart, I didn't think so. I thought I had all the confidence in the world that we'd come in here and fight, compete, and we did, Steve. I thought we did for 2 games and really put ourselves in a position when if one of those tip-in goes in at home in the first game, it's a different story. But like I said, close doesn't count. And so it just tells us how small margin of error you have as a team to go against a team, you know, because everybody had counted Cleveland out. You know, they struggled a little bit, had the big trade and all that. Everybody thought they were vulnerable, but as long as they have him, they have a chance. And that's what we're looking at. But 10 days ago, had all the confidence in the world.
So does this feel worse than last year? because of the circumstances?
It hurts. It hurts just because of the season we had, Steve, a franchise record, top 5 in offense, top 5 in defense, and just almost like we flipped the switch. So that's what's disappointing as much as anything else from our coaching staff. Everything we tried to do just didn't click. That's the disappointing part. The difference between last year and this year.
Eric Smith, Sportsnet. You've touched on it a little bit a couple times here. The way that this game went tonight, though, the way that you lost, is that more frustrating than anything, getting blown out to this extent?
Well, it's disappointing, because, again, you want to go out fighting, scratching, clawing with your best effort, with your best approach, and not give in when they throw in the haymakers. And believe me, that team is going to beat a lot of teams, again, but you don't want to go down that way and let go of the rope. And that's what's disappointing as much as anything else. And because we've done too many good things throughout the season, in the playoffs against Washington, in the first game, in the game 3, to let go of the rope.
Dwayne, PJ Ziegler, Fox 8, what was the biggest difference in your mind in the Cavaliers team that you saw in the regular season and then the one that you faced here in this 4-game series?
Well, the one we beat by 25 is a totally different team. After the trade, I think LeBron is rejuvenated. The young man, 38 minutes and 29, whatever it was, he's just like a different person now than he was at that time, early in the season. He's playing at an elite level, one that I haven't seen as a coach before, and I've been doing it a long time. And so that in itself is the difference, I think. And at the same time, he's brought everybody up around him to make him more different guard. Kevin Love's a different player right now. I thought Kyle Korver is playing at an elite level now. So Jeff Green, is playing at a different level. George Hill is playing at a different level. So he's raised everybody's level up and made it more difficult. But again, at the same time, for us, it's disappointing that we didn't, compete the way we did for 4 quarters, the way we did in Game 3.
Is there a point in the series where you felt like the tide really shifted towards the Cavaliers? Was there a defining moment?
Well, I thought, again, like I said, I thought we were emotionally drunk in Game 2 and also tonight. After the 2 tough losses, we didn't bounce back as strong as we, should have. That was I thought that was a turning point after Game 1, and also tonight after Game 2 was you could just see it that just the guys wanted to crank it up, but again just was draining. I thought Kyle was drained after his great game in Game 3, and just didn't have it tonight.
Coach Eli Mooney on AP Radio. A lot of praise was sent toward your second unit during the season, and rightfully so. But when starters kind of start struggling like they did in this series, do you feel maybe these guys on the bench try to pick up the slack and maybe feel a little bit extra pressure to kind of get the team back into it?
It's a different game than in the playoffs. It's a totally different approach. Also, too, when LeBron is playing as many minutes as he's playing, they played a lot of their starters against them, which is a great experience for our young guys to go through that, to see that, to feel that, to go against a guy like James who's playing at a high level. And it's a difference. And, we was trying to shuffle the lineup, trying to match to, and ended up breaking up the second unit a little bit. But it was a great experience for those young guys. I thought Anunoby had an excellent series. I know he didn't feel like it, but to get that experience to go against a guy like James and guard him in the tough situation and battle him, I guarantee he learned a lot and will grow a lot from this series.
Coach Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. 2 questions. One, what was your view of the flagrant foul on DeMar?
I thought he was going for the ball. I don't think he was trying to hurt. I think it was George Hill. I don't think he was trying to hurt him. Clarkson, I'm sorry. I don't think he was trying to hurt him. I thought he was going for the ball, and he swung, but he wasn't going for his head, and it was unfortunate. But there's no malice, I don't think, on DeMar's part.
And DeMar seemed wanted so much to have a bounce-back game today. What lessons do you think he takes away from this?
Well, I don't know if there's a lesson, Neil. I think the situation with him, he just wanted to bounce back. And I thought he was really trying to get going, get his his motor cranked up, and to make up for the other night. And he tried. And but again, I don't think that play had any malice in it whatsoever.
Dwayne, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. Late in the second quarter, when Serge got hurt or hurt himself, you went to Lucas. What were you looking for, and what was your thinking there?
We were having trouble with the blitz for whatever reason. When it went to the big, all year long we had made plays and did a good job. And Lucas is one of our better passers. And for whatever reason, the coaches said, "Hey, we got to get Lucas in. He can break the press. He can break the blitz." And he didn't. I mean, he struggled. And so that was a lesson for us. But he had done it all year long. He had been an excellent passer out of there, and Serge and Jonas had struggled a little bit making plays out, and they did it. And that was another good job of them. I thought tonight their blitzes were much better. I think it was the difference in the game.
Any second thoughts, given like he hadn't played in over 2 weeks? And
well, I mean, the other option was Jakob, and Jakob had struggled with that too. So we was trying to go with our best passer, and Lucas is by far our best big man passer in that situation.
Thank you.
Coach, I'm with Man Yahoo Canada Sports. What do you think Kyle and DeMar learned from this series?
Oh, well, again, the different, they know. Kyle and DeMar, of all the guys in the locker room, understand the level of play that you got to play against a championship caliber team like Cleveland. So I don't, again, you'd have to ask them what they learned. It's just how difficult the difference is between a regular season and playoff and a championships type team to go against them. But you'd have to ask them what they learned. I don't know what they learned. I thought Kyle played his heart out in Game 3, so again, how tough it is, and just remind them how tough it is more, because they've been here three years in a row, so they understand, they know the level of play that you have to play with.
Thank you.
Gentlemen in the back over here, third year in a row that you face them and they've knocked you out. What is it about this matchup that gives you guys so much trouble?
Hard to say one thing. Like I said, like you said, last 3 years been rough for us, competing against this team. Maybe they just got our number. Things just don't go right for us. Whatever it is, it could be a lot of things, All I know is, last 3 years they have been a reason why we haven't advanced. So, whatever that is, I couldn't sit up here and tell you one specific thing.
Might it be just that, LeBron's had different teammates over the last 3 years, but he's the one common denominator. Is it as simple as it's running into LeBron?
You say that, but it's still a team thing. It's not just him going out there scoring 128 points. The guys around him that, he get involved in the game, make plays for them. A lot of things he do for his teammates, get them going. It's definitely been a challenge for us over the years.
Sportsnet, Kyle, you and many others, understandably, going into this game, talked about the fight. Was the loss frustrating, or the way you lost, getting blown out as badly as you did?
The loss. I mean, both. It's all frustrating. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's kind of a one in both. They're kind of the same thing right now.
Did you expect more of a fight, though, obviously? I mean, you guys were not anticipating losing like this.
We lost, so it's frustrating either way.
How do you guys evaluate having to go up against LeBron for 3 straight years? Like, how do you guys kind of put that in context? The guy's going to go down on the best 1 or 2 players, 3 players of all time. And, you know, he certainly showed it in this series. So do you are you hard on yourselves because you couldn't get it done? Or do you kind of almost feel like it's your bad luck that you keep running into him?
Definitely hard on ourselves. You know, we couldn't get it done. You know, we had opportunities after opportunities after opportunity. And, you know, we couldn't pull off, you know, that big challenge you want to face up against, going against a guy like that. You know, all you can ask for at the end of the day is, you know, have the opportunity to face him, to try to, you know, make up for the previous time, you know, and, you know, we just couldn't get it done this time around.
Bruce Arthur from the Toronto Star. DeMar, you are always hard on yourself. This was a very tough series for you and a tough night for you. What happened in this series in terms of how they affected you and maybe how you feel about how you played?
You know, I always take accountability on my end, how I play individually as a leader, you know, every step of the way. You know, with me understanding that they was going to try to take me out the game, you know, try to beat them with the pass, you know, just try to make the right plays to try to get us going, get a rhythm going, you know, not just for myself, for my teammates as well. And, you know, for myself, couldn't find a rhythm, and, you know, we couldn't get it clicking like we normally did during the regular season.
You try to improve yourself every year. Is there anything in this series that you look at and say, that's what I need to get better at?
For sure. You know, at some point, I'm going to sit down, reevaluate myself from top to bottom and, you know, figure out, understand, study, and come back a lot better.
Tom Reed from The Athletic. This is for either guy. You saw what the Cavs kind of went through the course of the season at point guard. What did the addition of George Hill at the end of the season and through the playoffs, what have you seen as far as his ability to maybe stabilize that position a little bit for them?
He's an experienced point guard, you know. He was brought here to handle the ball, do his job, and, you know, that's what he did, fulfill that one spot.
Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. This was a lopsided result, but there were other games that were close. Will they stay with you in terms of thinking about what might have happened if that tip-in had gone in, if that bucket had happened?
I mean, it's life, man. You know, if you dwell on what should have happened, what could have happened in life, you know, you'll drive yourself crazy. You know, the fact of the matter is, we out, we done. Gotta get back to reality come tomorrow, and work our butt off this summer and get ready for the next stage.
I was in here and he was saying, like, every year they come in and their focus is to stop you. Did you see anything different from what they did this time around as opposed to previous years?
Nah. You know, like I said, you know, I knew they was gonna come out, blitz me, try to get the ball out of my hands, and, you know, it was on me to be able to make the right plays. You know, they did a great job in a secondary defense. You know, when I got off the ball, you know, forced us to make passes we didn't want to make. You know, got in pass lane, got steals, kind of knocked our rhythm off offensively, and, you know, that was one thing that we were struggling with for the first time all year.
For either guy, Eli Mooney on AP Radio. Coach Casey was saying that, like, with every great, somebody has to dethrone the great, and LeBron would be the great in this situation. After falling short the last couple of years, do you still feel that you guys are that team that will eventually dethrone LeBron in the East?
Yeah, I mean, we had 3 opportunities. You know, nothing's never promised. We're not sure if we'll get this opportunity again. So it sucks to dwell and sit here and have to go into the summer not knowing if the opportunity presents itself again. And, you know, you don't want to look at 3 opportunities as a dud. And, you know, like I said, it's something we got to, you know, understand that if it don't kill you, it make you stronger. You know, we got to carry that over team-wise, individual-wise, and, you know, like I said, get ready for the next go-round.
Thank you very much.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. The question is for both of you guys. How do you think a healthy George Hill changed this series?
I mean, he's another added ball handler, another guy with high basketball IQ, and that's been in big games. And, it helps to have that out on the floor, to be able to create not only for himself as he did early on in the game, but just being able to create for others as well. So it's been great for us, having him back, after he had the injury.
Yeah, I think like I mentioned after Game 3, just having another facilitator outside of LeBron, bring the ball down the court. And for me personally, just setting a 1-5 pick and roll, that was something just that I missed, especially in the first series when he was out with his back. Just having him back healthy has been very positive for me. There's a lot of times where Bron and I are in the pick and roll and they're able to switch and we're able to get the ball inside. But a lot of the time with the 1-5 pick and roll in this series, Casey had them switching, and whether they double teamed or whether they stay put, I was able to go to work. And it was the same thing with Kyle too. I mentioned after the last game, he was able to get a lot of the balls inside. We were able to work our weak side action, and Bron was finding us, George was finding us, and it worked well. It's good to have him.
David Quenneman, ESPN. Kevin, the point total you had these last 3 games is the most you've had since late December over a 3-game stretch, and during that stretch, the Cavs went 1-2, not 3-0. Considering how the first round went for you, where did this come from, and can you just describe what you found in your game as of late?
I think it just came from me being me. I said after Game 2, I didn't forget how to play basketball. I mean, I just was ultra aggressive. I found myself in spots, and I found myself, just missing little chippies, missing shots that were uncharacteristic for me to miss, but continue to be aggressive, continue to put in the work every single day. So for me, it was just, like I said, more than anything, just being myself.
For LeBron, how does this Raptors team compare to some of the teams that you've faced in multiple years and eliminated in multiple years in the past? And I mean, it's not your call in terms of what they do in the future, but just what's your opinion of them as an opponent?
I thought they were very well-balanced, put-together team this year. I think they showed all year what they could become, and what they're capable of. They built a bench, those the two-headed monster. Kind of obviously it starts with Kyle and DeMar, but they built a very good team to succeed in the postseason. And everybody they kind of put on the floor throughout the whole season kind of was very productive for them. They didn't have to wear anybody down because they played 10 or 11 guys. And I felt coming into this series it was going to be a tough challenge for us because of how well balanced they were and how well they played, especially throughout the regular season. So we just try to have a great game plan going on every night, try to execute it as close to 48 minutes, and see where it takes us.
Steve Ashburn on NBA.com. For both of you guys, 2 very different series, but these 11 playoff games, what have they meant to where your team is at now compared to the end of the regular season?
Well, I think every test for us is another opportunity for us to get better and see who we are. Besides, our starting 5, well, besides, us 4, that's been on the championship team here, and then you add in Kyle, pretty much it's kind of, a whole new group. Every game, from the 7-game series in the Indiana series to the 4 games here, we're just trying to, get some more and more familiar with each other, as a unit. I know Kev know me, and Tristan and JR and Kyle. But everybody else, we want to continue to learn and see where we can, be as productive as they can be to help us be successful as a team. So, it's still a learning experience for us. And the good thing about it, we have another round to continue to learn each other and try to get better.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off that, Bron said it's been a learning experience for a number of players on this team that, haven't had a lot of shared playoff experience or even shared time on the floor together. So I think Game 7 was Well, the entire Indiana series was big for us, but Game 7, in the fashion that we won, just getting that experience and, heading into Game 1 here, as I mentioned in the locker room, just, fighting back from a big deficit, forcing it into overtime, and then finally taking that first lead in overtime and never really looking back and, winning in the fashion that we did in the 3 games that followed, I think was very telling and a learning experience for our entire team.
Akron Beacon Journal, for both. I know you have a much greater goal in mind, but is this getting to the conference finals any more satisfying just because of how tough the first round was and how tough the season was?
Well, I mean, I can only think about, now. We've had 4 or 5 seasons wrapped in one. We've talked about it all year. We know what the narrative has been about our team, but I can only speak in the moment. And to be able to put ourselves in a position where we can, represent the Eastern Conference in the finals, that's all you can ask for. So we're excited about being a part of the Eastern Conference Finals once again and have an opportunity to compete for a championship. That is what our goal is. We are excited about that. We're humbled about it, and we want to continue to get better throughout this week. We have a long week where we can continue to get better, and we look forward to that. And we look forward to the challenge, whoever we may face, either through Boston or through Philly. Both teams definitely create a lot of matchup problems. But at this moment, we don't have to think about them just yet. We will enjoy this moment, and like I said, be excited about what we've been able to accomplish so far in the postseason.
LeBron, Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun. Before the series began, you talked about not having enough time from the 7-game series to beginning this one and maybe not enough preparation time. Would you ever have anticipated, knowing that you would have won 4 straight?
Well, we didn't, and I wasn't telling a tale about we didn't. We came in and winged Game 1, and we had a game plan. Our coaching staff gave us the best game plan that we can have in a short amount of time because of having a Game 7 here, and then we had to fly the very next day and then play at 1 o'clock, I believe, in Toronto. So we kind of had to just wing it, and we came out and they kind of punched us in the mouth, and we kind of took that hit, and when we took that hit, we tried to go right back at them, punch them in the mouth as well, and we was able, like Kev said just a minute ago, that we was able to kind of force that game into OT and then take the lead for the first time, after Kyle Culver's 3, at the first possession that we had. So in every game, we was able to prep more and more and more and more and really get down to trying to execute and kind of neutralize what they like to do and how we can be successful. And throughout the 4 games, we was able to do that.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. LeBron, for you, Dwayne Casey said after Game 1 and Game 3 and the way that those games went, he felt his guys were emotionally drunk. Can you sense that when you have the effect on an opponent? And is that essentially what you were alluding to the other day when you said 2 points are not worth 2 points?
Well, for our ball club, we want to try to make teams do what they're not very good at, and but more importantly, just try to make it tough. And I think defensively in these 11 games, we've been very, very, very good. And offensively, we're starting to pick up. We're starting to get a rhythm. We're starting to know what we're capable of offensively and where we can become. So, I was serious about the 2 points. It's not just 2 points because it's not. I know coaches are not going to like to. It is when you're 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, 12. Maybe not 13 because kids are dunking now at 13. But at that age, yes, 2 points is 2 points. But when you get to our stage, some 2 points change the momentum of a game. If you look at Game 3, at the end of the second quarter, I was able to find Jeff Green for a slip dunk at the end of that quarter. That's a momentum play. That's just not 2 points. Those are momentum plays that kind of help you, maybe take off. So we just want to try to be as good as we can.
Tom Withers, AP. Brana, you guys obviously pulled it together, but 10 days ago, How worried were you that this was going to have a bad finish?
What was 10 days ago?
Before game.
I'm not that. I'm not that good. I mean, I know I would remember everything, but I mean, damn. 10 days ago, I don't even.
Okay. Let's say after game 3.
I remember 10 minutes ago at this point.
After game 3 of the Indiana series, you guys are down. How worried were you that it wasn't going to go your way?
No, listen, at the end of the day, I understand that a series isn't won until you win 4. So me personally, my confidence never wavers. It's just who I am. I believe in what I bring to the table, what I can provide to our team, and I believe in my teammates. So as everyone was burying my teammates alive, throughout that first round series, I just continued to tell them, like, listen, we can't win without each and every one doing their job and being as great as they can be. And I continue to preach that. So, it's impossible for me to lose confidence in our ball club, no matter what the stakes are or where we're down, because if I do, then where are we going to go from a team aspect? So, Indiana definitely tested us. Us being down 2-1, they tested us, but we was able to win Game 4 on their floor, bring it back home, win Game 5. Got smacked around in Game 6 a little bit, and then get back to our home crowd and was able to finish it off. So, it was a good test for us.
Eric Corrine, The Athletic. LeBron, probably not often your primary defender as a rookie. What did you make of OG Anunoby from what you saw of him?
I think he has a bright future, and his future is now, actually. You look at the rookie class from this year, it's probably the best since 2003.
Tom Reed, The Athletic. Kev, you've been talking a lot about your offensive play, trying to get it going, but just the last couple games and in this series defensively, how you feel you're playing a couple more block shots tonight. Where do you feel like your defensive game is right now?
I think from a team defense aspect, that's where I can have a lot of success. And if I'm really locked in, I feel like I can definitely make a difference and end plays with the defensive rebound. So I think tonight, just knowing what was at stake, not wanting to force it into a Game 5 and being on our home floor, I felt like I was locked in, and really at the coming back home for Game 3 as well. I felt like at the start of that game, everybody was there for each other, and if one guy slipped to the basket, the next man stepped up. We were there on the swings. We were there on the blitzes when we got up on Lowry and DeRozan. So just being really locked in, I think, has not only helped me but helped our whole ball club.
Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. For either of you guys, how much are you looking forward to the rest, and are any specific plans for the next 2 days off, just to get away from the game, or are you going to kind of hone in on whoever's next?
I was going to say something stupid.
We're going to enjoy a little bit, enjoy the rest a little bit for these next couple of days. But we will be tuned in Wednesday night and watching the game, Game 5, seeing how that unravels and seeing what happens. But we've earned the right to get some rest our bodies, kind of recalibrate our mind, not having to indulge into another playoff scheme or another playoff series just yet until possibly Wednesday night. So, our plan is to take care of our bodies, get as much rest, optimal rest as possible, and then lock back in once we get back on the practice floor.
Last question, Ron. Is there a preference that you guys would want to play Boston or Philadelphia?
Well, we don't have home court, so we're going on the road no matter what. So, I mean, if we was a higher seed, I would have been like, yeah, so we can start at home, but we don't have home court in the Eastern Conference Finals, so we'll be ready for Game 1 no matter if it's in Philly or in Boston. Thank you.
Thanks.